Okay, painting the color wheel. So what you need are your brushes. I'm going to use the round brush to paint the color wheel because it has a point and it's easier to get into little areas. The flat brush is a little harder or more difficult to get into the areas, so use the round brush. And I also have all my paints. We're going to be using just white, black, yellow, red, and the cool blue. Okay, the other three paints, the tan, the brown, and the warm blue, you can just set aside. We're only going to use these colors to paint the entire color wheel. Okay. You also need a paper towel or a few paper towels, or I have these baby wipes, which are really handy to have as well. You need a cup of water. You need your paper palette, which I've already started to use already, and you need your plastic palette. So your plastic palette will look like this. Okay, so I'm going to start painting the blue and the yellow, and that will make all the greens in between. So I'm going to turn this around. Okay. So I've already put some yellow on my palette, and I already put some blue. I might need a little more white. So when getting paint onto your palette, you're going to open up your cup. You're going to use the palette knife to put paint on your palette. Don't put too much paint. Only put enough paint that you're going to use during this painting session, because it will dry up on this palette and you'll end up wasting a lot of paint. You can always get more paint, and you can put this back, but it's a little more difficult. Then you clean off your palette knife before getting another color. So if I want to get black, I've cleaned off my palette knife. I'm going to dip my palette knife, put some black there. Okay. And make sure that lid snaps on, clean my knife again. So you just sort of get in this habit of wiping off your palette knife a lot and also washing out your brush quite a bit. And when I wash out my brush, I also use a paper towel and kind of dry it off so that I don't have too much water on this brush. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to paint blue first. So what I'm going to do is paint the regular blue color without mixing it into white or black first. So how you're going to paint this, okay, is in this order. That the middle inner circle, the smallest circle, will be color plus black. Then the next ring is just regular color. The next ring, which is the second to the outside, okay, is color plus white. And then the outer ring will be color plus a lot of white. So that's a pastel. So all of your colors will go from dark to light. So I always start just painting the regular color first without mixing it. So I paint blue right here. It's up to you if you want to label your color wheel or not. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, so blue goes right here. And then I'm going to put some blue in little dabs right there, like little piles. And I'm going to take a little black, okay, mix it with my blue. That, of course, makes really dark blue. That's going to go right here on the first ring or the first circle in the inside. Okay, wash out your brush really, really well so you don't have any black on that brush anymore. I'm going to take some white I'm going to mix it into my blue right here. I think I need some more. There we go. Okay, so this is blue, maybe a little more. Okay, blue plus white. That's going to go in the second ring from the outside. So this is called a tint. Any color plus white is called a tint. And then any color plus black is called a shade. Okay, so there you go. And then the outer ring is going to be your lightest ring. So what I'm going to do is use the same color that I mixed. I'm going to get more white and I'm going to mix it into that same little area of color and paint it on the outside. So you should have an even gradation from dark to light. And you're going to do this for every single color that you mix, the same pattern. Okay. So the next thing that you could do is maybe paint the yellow because you already have yellow out there. Okay. But I'm going to show you how to mix the color and how to save it. Okay. So now I need to make a green. So I'm going to use my palette knife and I'm going to take this yellow and put it in a pile, in a separate little pile, so that I try to keep this, it's gotten a little dirty, but I try to keep this yellow as clean as possible. I'm going to get more yellow. So put more yellow there because I think I'll need it later. I'm going to get more yellow and put it here. Make sure you put the cap on and it snaps. Okay, wipe this off. All right, I think I'm good with the enough blue though. So I have yellow here. And I want to make a lot of green because when you mix a color, every time you mix, if you run out of this green and every time you mix like a new green or a new color, it's slightly different than your original color that you mixed. You can get pretty close, but they're never exactly the same. So when you mix your secondary colors, which are orange, green, and violet, make sure that you make a lot of it. Okay, and we're going to save it. So then yellow is a light valued color, so I always need more of it. And with a dark value color like blue or red or black, you need less of it. Okay, so I don't want to add equal amounts. I want to add a lot of yellow and less blue. I mix it and kind of check the color. Make sure it's not too yellow green. It's not too blue green. You just want a really medium green here. Okay, so that looks good. Then use your knife and you're going to scrape all of this color that you made and you're going to save it in your palette so that anytime you need green, you just go to your palette and get it. Okay, so I'm going to scrape that off, put it here. You can see where it's not really mixed super great, so I'm going to mix it. Okay, so now I have, right now I made 2 little spots of green, which is good. And you can go ahead and mix all the other secondary colors if you want. You can mix orange, you can mix violet, or just mix it when you need it. Okay, wipe off this. Okay, so my green is going to go right here. This is green without white or black. And then I'm going to mix my green with white, mix my green with a lot of white, and then mix green with black. I think I need more. There we go. Okay, I suggest when you have painted two colors and you have your intermediate or your tertiary color right here, to go ahead and paint this because you already have the colors already mixed. So the intermediate color between blue and green is blue-green. Okay, so you take your same green that you've already mixed, and I already have my little pile of green with black and my green with white, and so I'm just going to use that same little area, and all I'm going to do is just add more blue. So I already have green with black, add a little more blue, and I have blue green with black. So that goes right here. And you need very, very little color because it's a pretty tiny area. I end up washing out most of that paint anyway. Okay, and then I have my green here, my green with the white, and I just add a little more blue. Okay, and then I keep moving on. So a couple helpful tips when painting. One is when you paint, only get paint on the tip of the brush. You don't need to paint and get paint everywhere on that brush, because I'll show you. You only need paint there. You don't need to paint all the way to the ferrule. And also, if you need to adjust a color, such as this color seems a little light for what I have. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm using all these similar colors, I can just go back and grab a little of the more blue-green and just paint right on top of that, and it'll mix together. So you can mix colors on the canvas, and you can also mix colors on the palette. Whoops. Okay. All right, and so you just continue and fill in the rest of your color wheel. Okay. At the end of the painting session, you want to make sure you put all the caps on the paint and that snap close. You also want to put your palette back in your Ziploc bag. Gosh. At the end of the painting session, you want to make sure you put all the lids back on these cups and snap them closed. You want to put your plastic palette back in the Ziploc bag so that the paint doesn't dry out. Or you can wrap it with some plastic wrap, like saran wrap. The paint will get on the bag. So when I put the palette back in the bag, I always kind of put it in the same way so that the orange and the green, you know, they've gotten on the bag and they're still in the same spot. I'm going to Ziploc that close and then store it flat, because if you store it tilted, the paint will all smear. If you have extra paint on your paper palette, I would try to scoop this extra paint back into the cup so you don't waste it. But be careful, because if you, like, this white has gotten dirty with green, you can see. So I would not put that back in the cup. I would just try to use up your colors and continue painting on, okay, until you know, have used up most of it. And then washing your brushes. So when you wash your brush, you need to make sure you get all the paint out. And so you need to really swirl these brushes in the palm of your hand like this under the water until the water is clear. Okay, because if the paint dries in the brush, it's really, really difficult to get back out. It tends to dry in the brush near the ferrule down here, which will tend to, I'm sure you've all seen like brushes and all the hair is like spread apart and it doesn't go to a nice point anymore. Okay, so when the brush is wet and clean, okay, you want to reshape your brush, okay, and then let it dry. I always let my brushes dry flat like this rather than putting them up. So to get the hair so it doesn't spread apart. Okay, all right, that's it.